Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to read the book, The Snowy Day. Give me a thumbs up if you have read The Snowy Day before. Give me a thumbs down if you have not read the book before. I see some of you have read the book before and some of you have not read the book before. This is one of my favorite books. Before we read the book today, I am going to ask you to make a prediction. You're going to turn and tell your partner what you think this book is going to be about. Remember that you can use the illustrations and the words in the title to make your prediction. Look at the illustrations and listen to the title, The Snowy Day. Now turn and tell your partner what you think this book is going to be about. I think this book will be about because I like how some of you use the illustrations and some of you use the words to make your prediction. Now, I heard some friends saying that they think this book is going to be about a snowy day. Well, have you had a snowy day before? Yes? What makes it a snowy day? Snow everywhere. Now, what can you do on a snowy day? Oh, I agree with you. You can make a snowman. Now, as we read the book today, boys and girls, our objective for today is that we are going to concentrate on the setting. Now, we have learned that the setting is the place where the story happens. Well, today I want to teach you that good readers also focus on the details in the setting. Good readers use the illustrations and they use the words to identify details in the setting. Here is a chart that we are going to use to help us identify details in the setting. You can talk about the weather, whether it's sunny, snowy. You can talk about the temperature, whether it's hot or cold. We can talk about the time of day, whether it's daytime or nighttime, or we can talk about winter, the season, whether it's winter, spring, summer, or fall. First, I am going to model for you how to identify details in the setting. I am going to first use the illustrations. In this part of the story, I see the boy is in his room. The setting is his bedroom. Now I'm going to find details. The walls are red, his bed is black, and his blankets are white. Did you see how I use the illustrations? Now I'm going to use the words. One winter morning, Peter woke up and looked out the window. I heard the word winter and the word morning. Those are two details about the setting. Now, I am going to think about how these details help me understand better the story. Well, it says it is morning time. I know now why Peter is wearing his pajamas, because it's morning time. Now, did you see how I use the words to identify the details? Now we're going to do it together. As we read the book, we're going to continue using the illustrations and the words to identify details in the setting. Remember that we're going to be speaking superstars and we're going to make sure that we answer in complete sentences, and even better, that we answer in sentences that explain our thinking using that word because. Okay, now what does Peter see when he looks out of his window? Yes, Peter sees snow. Snow, how do you know? You see it in the illustration. Now listen to the words. Snow had fallen during the night. It covered everything as far as you could see. What words did you hear that are details about the setting? The word snow and night. The snow had fallen during the night. Excellent. Love how we're using the words to identify the details in the setting. Now, look at the illustrations and you're going to turn and tell your partner details about the setting. Go ahead. In the illustration, I see. Excellent job, friends. I heard some great answers about how the snow is covering everything and he's outside in the illustrations, right? Now, listen to the words. What words do you hear that are details that describe the setting? After breakfast, he put on his snowsuit and ran outside. The snow was piled up very high along the street to make a path for walking. What words did you hear? You heard the word outside and snow piled up. Now, when snow is piled up, it looks like this, like a big mountain. Now, do you know what does Peter put on before going outside? He puts on a snowsuit, okay? So a snowsuit is something that looks like this. Have you ever had to put on a snowsuit before? Why do you think Peter put on his snowsuit? Because in the setting, the details in the setting tells us that there was snow everywhere outside, and a snowsuit is going to help him, protect him from the cold and protect him from the snow. Excellent. Now, why do you think the details that describe the setting are important to understand the story? They help us understand why characters do things, right? They help us understand why he was wearing pajamas, why he's wearing a snowsuit. Excellent. All right, boys and girls, now it's going to be your turn. You are going to go into your reading groups. As a team, you are going to identify details in the settings in these other parts of the story. I will come around and read the words for you, so you can also use the words as clues to identify the setting, the details in the setting in the story. Now, what clues do you use to describe the setting? The details in the setting. You use the illustrations, and what clues did you use? You use the words. Excellent. Now, why are details in the setting important again? Because they help us understand better the story. They help us understand why the characters are doing those things. Okay, now on your own, you're going to pick, I'm going to give you your graphic organizer. You're going to pick one setting from the story, any setting that you want. You are going to draw a picture with details that describe the setting, and I'm going to come around and I'm going to ask you, what clues did you use? Do you use the words or do you use the illustrations? Okay, so go ahead and go into your groups, and I'm going to be giving you each person a graphic organizer. Okay, so for this lesson, we focused on identifying details in the setting. I think this is an important standard for students for kindergarten, because a lot of them just identify the setting as the place where the story happens, and there's so many other details that help us understand why certain things in the story happen, or why the characters behave or feel a certain way depending on the setting. For the observation, the assessment in my lesson, I used a checklist, and this checklist has the students' names. It has 3 columns. One is for the sentence, whether they use a 1 word, a simple sentence, or a 3-star sentence, a sentence that displays their thinking. And I am also identifying whether they use the illustrations or the words to identify details in the setting. Another assessment that I am using is the response to the reading. We have 3 different responses, from below level, on level, and above level. For the below level, I like to give more visuals for them to support their answers and to support their learning. And for the above level, I like to give them more of an open-ended response, where they can also use their writing to explain their thinking. It says, how do the details in the setting help you understand the story? Now, the visuals that I like to use in my class for teaching a lesson are definitely a lot of pictures for vocabulary words, like the chart right here, and vocabulary words that are important in the story. I also like to use a chart that students can use for self-assessment. So it's not just for my assessment, it's also for their self-assessment. And I like to use Realia, because I feel like students can really make a connection when they see things, and they can even come and touch it, and they can see why the material is and why you need to wear this when it's snowy outside. Now, the references to the test book that I used 2 textbooks. I used Early Literacy in Preschool and Kindergarten, a Multicultural Perspective. And it talks a lot about how storybooks are important and the illustrations are important in children's book, because this is the first thing that they see. They may not be able to read words, but they can see those illustrations and they can identify and learn a lot from those illustrations. So I feel like this book was really good in